Okay, so today I am harvesting my garlic. Now a lot of people will give you kind of like guidelines and rules about when to pick it, but really it's mostly about knowing your variety and knowing if you've grown it before. If you haven't grown it before, you just kind of have to play it by ear. Now there is kind of a rule of thumb that this is soft neck. When I grow soft neck, if the plants start to fall over, then it's definitely ready to be picked. But you know, people will say wait till it's a half brown or a third of the, you know, of it is brown and whatnot. So I've grown this variety before. This is Bianca Spagnola, so I pretty much know its characteristics. So I waited till just about it started to fall over. Like right now, these are just starting to fall over, and I know that it's time. Okay, so it's a very simple process here. Some people, if they have really loose soil, they'll go ahead and just pull them up, but I don't do that because I'm afraid of actually damaging the stalk. So I know the size of this garlic. If you're not sure, just kind of, you know, dig down a little bit and see how big your garlic is. But if you go out, way out like this and come out underneath it and then just pop it up like that, that way you're not putting any stress on the plant itself or on the, you know, the stalk, because I'm going to use these to dry it. So you just kind of pop it up like that, and so that's a really nice looking. Now you see this here, what I did here, I don't know how I did that, but there's two of them here growing side by side, and I never caught that to begin with. So what's probably going to happen is, see what it did was it damaged this one. It's kind of deformed, but we'll see what happens. And then this one ended up being pretty small. So yeah, like I say, I've grown this Bianca Spagnola before, and I've had really good luck with it. It's a nice large variety. So what I did do, I cut back on the watering about a week ago because I did not want the garlic to be wet when I harvested it. So just like this. Look at that one. Look at the size of that one. Nice looking garlic. Now this variety here is one that I have sold locally, and I've actually given it to friends and bartered and traded before with it, and people seem to love this variety. It does well for me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just go ahead and lay these all out in the sun. I got a couple cloves here that I picked off of one of those ones that were split. Now I don't want to leave these out too long in the sun, because it's just going to ruin them if you do. But okay, so now they're all laid out. I'm going to let these dry probably for a day, and then what I will do is I will put them in. Okay, now this is a bad one here. Now let me show you this. This is what sometimes you'll get. You will get them sometimes where they've just started separating, and this is where you have to find that balance between when to pick them and when they're ready to be picked, too early to be picked, or too late. This one here was too late to be picked. You see what happened here? It already started separating, and so you don't want this. So what I'm going to do is I'll just go ahead and clean this one up, cut the stalk off and the roots, and then just go ahead and, you know, clean it and use it right away. But sometimes you run into one of these, which means this one was a little bit past its time. So all the rest of these look really good. I'm going to go ahead and let these dry for 1 or 2 days, and then I will put them on a drying rack in the shade, or probably in the garage, and let them dry further and let them cure. I also should note another advantage of these raised beds is this was so easy to do because I didn't have to bend over to pull all this garlic out, and I didn't have to get down on my hands and knees and crawl along and yank on these and whatnot. So that's another benefit of these raised beds. So okay, so this garlic's been sitting out here for about 2 days, and it's time to hang them up and let them dry further and for them to cure. So what I'm going to do is take 5 or 6 of these in a bunch, and tie up toward the top here with this jute string or whatever they call it. It's this biodegradable stuff. And I'm going to tie it around here. Now I want to go fairly tight. I don't want to go so tight that I bust the stalks, but I want to tie it nice and tight here. And then from this end here, I want to make a loop, because this loop is what I'm going to hang them from, like this. And then cut this off like that, and this is how I'm going to hang them, like this. Now what I'm going to do is I will take these in and just take them in the garage and hang them on nails, or you could run a string through each of the hoops and then tie it that way. But it's going to go in the garage, and they're going to be in the garage where it's a little bit cooler and it's a little bit darker and it's out of the sun, and they'll be in there for about 3 weeks or so. So okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these and then hang them up. Okay, so that's the garlic so far. Now I wanted to stop for a second, and I know people are probably going to ask, what is this wispy little unhealthy garlic on the end here? Okay, the backstory of this is, I don't know its history, but the backstory is, a lady up the street knew that I grew garlic, and she said, I've got this wild garlic growing out along the edge of my property. And she said, would you like, I've got a couple of the bulbs. And so I said, sure. So I took a couple bulbs, and that was a few years ago, and I've been growing it out ever since. And this is the one that I showed in my video, the failings of my garden, you know, the not so pretty side of it. And where I showed that bulb was growing halfway up the stem, and I still had a bulb under the ground, and it's kind of a weird, it's got weird idiosyncrasies, and I really like it. But the reason why I keep growing this is because I like the mystery of its history, and I like the size of it. I like the large ones like this, like the Spagnola and the Oregon White and whatnot. But for some reason, you know, well, a lot of times you don't want a huge clove of garlic. You just want a small one. And I like the taste of this, and I like the size of it for most things. If you're gonna, you know, cook up a few eggs and whatever, and you just want to throw one clove in, a lot of these cloves are just herkin huge, and you don't want one that big. So, anyways, that's the reason why I grow this. I like the taste, and it's got a mystery as far as its history goes. So I keep growing this, and I don't know the name of it. It was growing wild, and so that's the backstory on that one. So there's the garlic so far hanging up, and it's going to overtake my garage eventually, but that's okay. So that's how I dry and cure my garlic. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell down there so that you get notifications whenever I upload a new video. All right, catch you guys later.